And I felt so bad that I walked away from her. I took the ticket. I didn't give her a chance to thank me. I didn't say, well, this is your lucky day. I'm going to cut you some slack and I'll give you. No, I was so ashamed of what I was doing to that lady
Wow.
that I just walked away, drove back to the police department, threw the ticket in the trash after I tore it up. And then I committed to understanding why we have government, why we have the Constitution, and why we have police. And I started studying the Constitution, and I found the answer.
All right. Welcome to the latest episode of Blood Money. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Sheriff Richard Mack. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Vem, you know me. I'm always doing good, even though I'm getting old every day. Man, I tell you, Vem, you know I'm a peaceful person, but if I ever run into Father Time, I'm going to take him in the back alley. I can't stand how time flies.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. It's always a pleasure to have you on our podcast here, Blood Money. How you been, Sheriff? Firstly, we haven't talked in, it's been about 4 or 5 months. Give us a little bit of an update on what you've been up to.
I'm just really busy, and this Daniel Perkins is a professional author, and I was on his podcast about 6 months ago, and he asked me if I had written any books, and I said yes, and he says, well, I really want to get to know you and your books better. And he says, right after this call, I'm going to send you a link for a Zoom meeting, and I want you to show me some of your books. And so I did. And right then and there, he said, I want to do a book with you. And I said, what kind of books have you written? He goes, oh, children books, fantasy books. And I've only done fiction, but I want to do a nonfiction book right now about how the Democrats are destroying our country. And I said, wow, okay, perfect, because I'm sick and tired of the Democrats, and they are destroying our country, but I want to make the title a little bit stronger than that. I want to wake people up with the title. He says, okay, and so what do you want? And I said, right then and there, I said, I want the Democrat murder of America.
Wow.
Because they are. They're murdering. Look at what they're murdering. First of all, they murder babies in the womb. And that's an absolute no compromise for them. Then they also will take that a step further and murder babies while they're being born. And they even came up with a term for that. It's a partial birth abortion. And then sometimes, like the former governor of Virginia said, oh, well, if the baby happens to survive an abortion, we'll make sure it's comfortable while we kill it. And not a single Democrat came out and said, no, that's murder. No, we don't believe in murder. No one did. No one. And so I'm just fed up with them about murder and corruption and fraud and voter cheating and election cheating and the deaths that they have caused in America. I mean, look at the Clintons alone, the 100 some odd people that just happened to die when they got close to the Clintons. And I'll tell you right now, we go over the Vince Foster murder, a book titled The Sovereign Individual, written by 2 international famous economists. In their book, The Sovereign Individual, back in, I believe it was 1998, they said that the Vince Foster case was the most poorly disguised murder in American history. Epstein did not commit suicide. Marilyn Monroe did not commit suicide. The JFK assassination was a farce as it was investigated by the Warren Commission. And then, let me see if you remember this lady. Dorothy Kilgallen.
Of course, yeah. 1962 or 3, or no, sorry, right after the JFK assassination, 1964, she suddenly ended up dead right before she was about to come out with a big expose on who killed JFK.
Yeah, exactly. And so the police called it an accident. She died the exact same way that Marilyn Monroe did. And that was only, 2 or 3 years apart. And the police said, oh, this was a horrible accident. She it wasn't a murder. She didn't leave a suicide note. It wasn't a suicide. She just died accidentally because she took too many sleeping pills and was drinking all night, and she just killed herself, probably not intentionally. And then, just as you allude to, she was doing a thorough investigation on the JFK assassination, and she was the only reporter ever to interview Jack Ruby.
It's such a fascinating story. I'm glad you brought her up. She's actually one of those mystical individuals from that era. And from what I've read, I mean, she was about to expose exactly what happened with the JFK assassination.
Yeah, well, let me tell you the ending of that.
Mm-hmm.
She had notes and reports and photographs and everything just about completely ready to turn in. When she died accidentally that night, somebody ran off with all her reports and notes about her investigation. Her investigation disappeared with her death. Now, you're trying to tell me that isn't an obvious murder. So she dies accidentally. What'd they do? Call the paramedics, and the paramedics stole all her reports of the JFK assassination? I mean, how obvious can you get? So in the book I put, we know why she was killed. We just don't know who exactly did it. And I'm sure that wouldn't have been rocket science to figure that out. But that's really cool that you know that much about her. She was a panelist on What's My Line.
Yeah. I mean, the JFK assassination and the RFK assassination I've researched really well, to the point where, I don't know, I think I have a really good idea what happened. Let me just put it that way. But I got so many questions for you, Sheriff Mack. Firstly, amazing book cover. For anybody that hasn't seen it, the website is the murder of America.
No, just murderofamerica.com.
Yeah, I just saw the book cover. It looks amazing, and I gotta ask you.
If you can bring it up, go ahead.
Let's start with the abortion topic. You brought up abortion and this insane idea that you could basically murder a child after they're born, and that's pretty much at that point the discussion whether it's a clump of cells or a living thing is over. Now, I understand Democrats are supportive of this insane policy to murder babies, right?
Right.
How much of this is our culture? Because I'm going to ask you a controversial question. As much as we criticize these other countries for their tyrannical leadership, this seems like a genuine act of murder. Like, I can't imagine in Iraq or Afghanistan they're murdering babies after they're born. How much of, and you tell me if I'm incorrect about that, by the way, if you know anything that I don't, but it seems like this is a uniquely Western issue. Western countries, I've heard they do the same thing in Canada, the same things that has been proposed in Australia. How much of this is a failing of our culture that we've allowed liberalism to get this unhinged where we're now killing babies after they're born?
Well, sometimes it's forced on people in some of the communist countries. I believe China has a strict rule about you can't have any more than one kid. In fact, the average family in China has 0.91 children. So their population is actually going in the negative, and they don't believe they're going to have enough. Well, the people who examine China never talks about this, but people who examine China, and I'm really glad that Trump met with Xi today and yesterday. I think that was a great step because I don't want to be enemies with China. Mm-hmm. And like General Washington said, or President Washington said, honest open trade with everyone and entangling alliances with none. I totally believe in that. But Iran might be another story. But Iran, a lot of Muslim nations murder their own people if children don't behave or they go too Western. The parents are allowed, the father is allowed to murder them. If a wife doesn't do what she's told, she's beaten or murdered. Or
they call it honor killing, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there's some still other countries that practice some crazy death sentences within the family, and they're never prosecuted. It's not against the law. Mm-hmm. But this is another one. I believe that abortion. I'm not totally positive on this one, but I believe in China, if you accidentally get pregnant and you already have at least one or two kids, I think you have to have an abortion.
Yeah, I've heard that.
You can get in real bad trouble for increasing the population that way. But America still surprises me the most. We're the only one that has a charter, if you will, a Declaration of Independence that is the foundation of our country, that says the principal backdrop of our country is protecting life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
And that's our main tenet. And so that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. Then the Democrats twist that and go all the way to say, but a woman has a constitutional right to kill a baby in the womb. And this stupid thing about, it's dead. The baby's dead. How does it grow every day? How does it have a heart that's beating? How does it digest food from the mother? You see, none of that makes sense. And this is just so stupid with their rationalization of taking this life before it even has a chance to be born is beyond me. At its most innocent and precious stage, they think it's okay to kill that baby. And what's the reason? Because of embarrassment or convenience? Or like the Charlie Kirk was interviewing a lady that was a college student that was pregnant. And she said, I got to have an abortion. I can't finish college if I don't have an abortion. I mean, how debased and low have we come that we'll kill a baby because I got to finish school? It's gone too insane. I have a chapter in the book that talks about how we've just gone too far in everything. Technology, AI, hate, politics, divisiveness. It's just, we've gone too far on all of it. And the Democrats have taken this thing to a new level. And another quote from the book, I really love this one. The only legitimate, and that's not the word I use, the only legitimate progress that the Democrat Party has made is that they've reached a new level of degeneracy. That's it.
When you're talking about Dorothy Kilgallen and Vince Foster, another question came to mind, which is, while I agree that a lot of our problems are coming from leftism, liberalism, the Democrat Party, when we have the opportunity, we get our guy in office, right? And we have the opportunity to go after individuals that killed Vince Foster, reinvestigate, open up those investigations again, find out who killed Dorothy Kilgallen, find out, frankly, who killed 150 people that were associated with the JFK assassination.
Right.
You know, it wasn't just Dorothy Kilgallen, there's so many others. Why is there never justice? Why don't we open up those investigations under Republican leadership and finally put away those criminals and bring justice to them?
Yeah, I would like him to start with current corrupt public officials in current cases, and especially, and we make a note of this too, innocent people who are put in prison. And immediately, I hope you're thinking of the one I am, and that's Tina Peters.
Oh my
There's
God!
Others.
Yeah.
There's many others. Amish farmers that get attacked by the FDA and USDA because they won't pasteurize their milk, or they make a salve out of chickweed. And Sam Gerard, an Amish farmer from Kentucky, got 6 years from a crook of the judge, a Republican, Danny C. Reeves in Louisville. And he gave him 6 years. And he said, first, you showed no remorse. Second, you didn't get permission from the FDA. And third, you were obstinate. So for being stubborn, he was given 6 years in prison. Those three issues that the judge announced are not crimes. None of those are crimes. Not a single one. But yet he was so proud to give this man 6 years in prison. But Tina Peters got 9 years, and she never even committed a crime. She never even disobeyed the FDA or anyone else. She was just trying to preserve some votes. And she was the elected county recorder in charge of that. So even if she did make a mistake and preserve votes and ballots that she wasn't supposed to, that hurt no one, and it It created no victims. It created no crime. Just, okay, if you want to fire her or vote her out or recall her or whatever else, if the voters don't like that. But that was crazy. And I was at the trial. I don't remember if you were or not, but I was at the trial, and this judge was an absolute idiot. He is an absolute egomaniac, and he had absolutely no right to do what he did to Tina Peters.
You know, what do you do about the issue with these judges? I mean, you said something that really struck me, which is the idea of victimless crimes. You know, we don't talk about these the fact that if there's no victim, there's not really a crime, but it seems as though judges are able to throw anybody in jail, out of political persecution like Tina Peters. What do you do about these individuals?
Yeah, we're going to have to set something up. The states are going to have to set something up like that. There's got to be a check and balance on judges. And, and some sheriffs have presented some checks and balances on judges. And they've arrested a few judges just recently. And like the lady in Wisconsin, Hannah, whatever her name was, that helped get a illegal alien out that ICE was waiting for. And she snuck him out of the courtroom through secret hallways. She was arrested, and I've said, finally, we're arresting real criminals in this country. But there has got to be a check and balance on that, and I believe the sheriffs already have it. Now, you know Sheriff McMahill in Vegas, right?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay, I met with him about a year and a half ago, and he gave me one of his hats. And so I have a Metro hat right up here. Let me see if I can show it to you. The one right there on the corner.
I see it. Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
Well, that's another thing that's really cool about the Clark County Sheriff's Office. They're in charge of the local police department in Las Vegas. It's all under Clark County Sheriff. And that's why he gave me a Metro Police hat, because he's in charge of Metro Police. And that's how it should be in every county. So God bless Clark County, Las Vegas for doing that. However, in the last 5 or 6 weeks, anybody can look this up on the internet, Sheriff Kevin McMahill in Las Vegas, Clark County Sheriff, one of the bigger sheriff's offices in the country. He told 4 different judges, 11 different times with 11 different dangerous habitual criminals, that he would no longer release them, even if the judges ordered him to. And this one stupid judge says, well, this guy only has 35 felonies, and so let's just go ahead and let's just put him on an ankle monitor and put him back in the community. And the sheriff says, that doesn't stop anybody from victimizing more people, and I'm not going to put him out there. This guy's a habitual criminal. He's committed homicides already. I think the most severe one, though, was manslaughter, but that's murder. And he wants to put him out there, and McMahill said, no, I'm not doing it anymore. Go ahead and sue me. So it's going to court, but he's not doing it. And so I'm really glad that he paid attention when I talked to him about constitutional sheriffs and my Supreme Court case, which is this book right here. And look, this is really small. It fits in your pocket.
That's awesome.
It's only like 16 pages. It's very small. Look how thin it is, folks.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, you can read this in 10 minutes. This is the most powerful tool for freedom that has come down the pike in 75 years. This was a Supreme Court victory, the most powerful 10th Amendment, states' rights, state sovereignty, local autonomy case in the history of America. And it was done by a handful of sheriffs, led by yours truly, and you already know that. But so here we are, folks. Let's go. Let's get on this. These are available at cspoa.org. You get 3 for $5. Order them and pass them around to your local officials, to your friends. Make sure the county commissioners get it. Make sure your county attorney gets it. Make sure your sheriff has one. A lot of them have them. Some don't. But go talk to your sheriff and say, hey, are you familiar with this case? And then while you're at it, join CSPOA Posse. And when you go talk to your sheriff or talk to him on the phone or to one of his captains, tell him, I'm a member of the CSPOA. This is the most effective and peaceful solution there is in America. And so who has to be involved? We the people, and the sheriffs. And that is a solution that all of us should be getting behind, because it might be the only one we have left when these crazy Democrat woke criminals take back the Congress and the White House, and they're trying to finagle to appoint more Democrats to the Supreme Court. So this is what they're trying to do, folks. All of this is detailed in my book and Dan Perkins' book. It's Sheriff Richard Mack and Daniel Perkins, The Democrat Murder of America, Demagoguery in the First Degree. Folks, you get these and you get that book, and we're going to be on our way to taking back our country.
So
there is a specific solution in the book, too.
I got to ask you this. I mean, it sounds like you're out there trying to educate sheriffs as to their constitutional rights, what's possible through the courts, how much leverage they have through the courts. Now, I'm curious, why don't the sheriffs already know this stuff?
You know, Vem, that's one of the best questions anyone has ever asked me.
Oh, thank you.
And it's a pretty easy answer, because we never pay any attention to the oath of office, and we never pay any attention in police academies to the significance of our role as protectors of the people. We get into case law. We know the Miranda warning. We know the Carroll Doctrine. We know Terry versus Ohio. We don't know what our jobs are really about. If our job is to protect the rights of the people, which it absolutely is, then how are we going to protect the rights of the people when we don't even know what they are and we've never studied the Constitution? There's the other answer. We swear an oath of allegiance to the Constitution, and we don't know the first thing about it. We've never studied it. We've never read it. And a lot of it, we just don't think it matters because we never have it in any of our ongoing certification training, and we don't have it in any of the police academies, and our leaders never talk about it within our own police departments and sheriff's offices.
Wow.
How are you going to know what your responsibility is to keep your oath of office if you've never studied the Constitution? That's absurd. And that's why we provide that training. Our class is called The Constitution for All Law Enforcement. And we do it for county commissioners, any elected official, anybody working in government. I don't care if you're a constable, sheriff, deputy, detective, governor. I don't care. This training is for you. It's a wake-up call from a sheriff of 8 years and the law enforcement officer of 20 years, former detective, former street cop, former sergeant, patrol sergeant, former undercover narcotics officer, and folks, won a case against the Clintons at the United States Supreme Court. I started the whole thing. Luckily, 6 other sheriffs joined me, or not luckily, for the grace of God, 6 other sheriffs joined in this lawsuit. Sheriff Printz from Montana and I went to the Supreme Court in December of 96, and Justice Antonin Scalia issued this ruling, writing for the majority, in June of 1997. Folks, this is a blessing. It's a miracle. And every single one of you should be a member of the CSPOA posse and get a copy of this case. Look, if you want to look it up on the internet, look up Mack VUS or Printz VUS. And the university that did the best review was, the one in New York.
Columbia?
Cornell University.
Cornell, okay.
Cornell, yeah. And they reviewed what every justice said. The most powerful was, this isn't going to surprise you, Thomas. He was the best. He was the best comment because he said it not only violated the 10th Amendment, it's a clear violation of the Second Amendment as well.
Wow.
And we also filed on the 13th Amendment because we said that the federal government was trying to get us in involuntary servitude because they threatened to arrest us if we failed to comply.
Oh, wow.
If that's not involuntary servitude, I don't know what is. But he was the only one that agreed with that too.
Wow. So I'm curious, like going back in the day, like did you study the Constitution prior to becoming getting into law enforcement or?
No, afterwards.
Wow.
After I was a rookie cop for about 3 years, right after I served undercover, I went back to patrol for a little bit and I was writing a lady a ticket and I had an epiphany while I was writing her this ticket. And it was such a sad situation. I mean, it was obvious she didn't have any money. She didn't mean to do this. Her kids were fighting in the car. She lost track where she was and ran through a stop sign. And I was right there to answer the call to write this lady a ticket, you know. But it hit me that she was the one that ran the stop sign, but I was the one in the wrong. And it hit me really hard in my heart, in my soul, that is there anything you're doing here that's helping this family? Is there anything you're doing that's making this a better place to live? Is there anything you're doing that's bringing honor to the badge you wear on your chest? Come on, Mac, wake up. Answer the question. And I felt so bad that I walked away from her. I took the ticket. I didn't give her a chance to thank me. I didn't say, well, this is your lucky day. I'm going to cut you some slack and I'll give you. No, I was so ashamed of what I was doing to that lady.
Wow.
That I just walked away, drove back to the police department, threw the ticket in the trash after I tore it up. And then I committed to understanding why we have government, why we have the Constitution, and why we have police. And I started studying the Constitution, and I found the answer.
Wow.
And it was amazing. And ever since then, I've been dedicated to the Constitution. And then about 7 years later, I moved home to Arizona and ran for sheriff.
Wow. So you went into the sheriff's department knowing the Constitution, which is amazing.
I went on a strong platform to defend the Constitution and my oath. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it's amazing what Kevin McMahon's doing, but you'd almost wish that before he became sheriff. I mean, is that an intentional thing where they're not teaching this stuff? Because you would think that all law enforcement, it should almost be like the first day of police academy. Here's your pocket-sized Constitution, you know, and it's awful than what you just showed me with your lawsuit. You can literally get pocket-sized ones. I got a bunch of them here. You know, why aren't they doing that?
Yeah, well, I don't know. And I suggested it because then about the second year I was a sheriff, I gave a pocket Constitution, and the one that we normally have, you know, with Washington on the front, you know, this one is too long to fit in the pocket. It's too long. So I made my own. And so I had to cut it off about right there, but I made a white Graham County Sheriff's Office Constitution. And so because the flap could fit over it and it's part of the uniform, and I required each of them, when anybody hired on new, they got their uniform and a pocket Constitution. And I said, I expect when I read your reports about what you are doing out there, and if you write somebody a ticket, you better dang well be able to show me in the Constitution where you're allowed to do this, whatever it is. And it became a part of my administration.
Wow.
And so, yes, we've got to teach our guards of the Constitution what the Constitution is.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about your book. Sounds very exciting. I mean, you're touching upon like a lot of topics that are near and dear to my heart, especially with the, you know, abortion topic and all these unsolved murders dating, you know, back to the JFK administration. Tell me a little bit more.
Well, it gets, my co-author actually did a great deal of study and research, and he provided some research that shows that the Democrats really are crazy. And I mean it. Pursuant to doctors' analysis, psychiatrists' analysis. And, you know, this is kind of funny, but the book talks about this, and it talks about President Trump being the only president in history that has a mental disorder named after him, Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah.
And this is not a made up. Well, it's a made up syndrome because the Democrats have this overwhelming hate for the president. But it's these psychiatrists and doctors have said it's real. People cannot function properly with this, and they're so. It showed people bawling their heads off and banging their heads on walls and hitting themselves because Trump to the president. You know, it's crazy, but it's insane. And I really think this is an amazing conclusion that Trump is the first president in American history to have a mental disorder named after him. And
that's the world.
We get into that. And so he brings this up, and he actually does analysis of especially women in the Democrat Party. And if you look at protests done by Antifa and Black Lives Matter and Democrats, and many of them have been interviewed all across the country, that the majority of them are women. And so they've checked with these women, and it turns out that the Democrat women have about 2.5 times more mental problems than do Republican women.
Yeah.
And he does the statistics by age, and it's all in the book. So not only do they have a problem with cheating and murder and the destruction and murder of our American dream and the murder of our Constitution, they are crazy. And it's real. It's not just because you see him and you interview him, or I see him and I talk to him, and I felt, God, these people are crazy. They are certified. And it's all documented in this amazing book with, I think this is the most amazing title and the most amazing cover I've ever seen.
Yeah, yeah. Where do you think, what is it that they're doing that drives them nuts?
What are they doing that what?
What is it? What are they doing wrong that drives them nuts?
They're brainwashed by the dogma and platforms. Because look at the crazy things that they have taken on. Women's sports.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to murder the dreams, murder the dreams of little girls who worked their entire lives to get in the Olympics or to be on a professional basketball team or volleyball team. And then the Democrats have fabricated this nonsense of it's okay if a man believes he's a girl that he can now play in female sports.
Mm.
And you know, not even the Democrats believe that crap. And this is so cruel and so unusual and so out of line. But they start getting people to believe it. And now the other one, the just absolute insanity, is that it's okay not to have identification to register to vote or to actually vote. You don't need identification. You don't need to be an American. You don't need to be a citizen. Anybody who's here can go vote. And at the same time, let's give them all Medicare. And let's give them all Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what they're doing. And then they say, but we don't want the illegals to come here, like Kamala Harris said. Yeah, we told them not to come. You can't tell people from Latin America not to come here and then offer them Medicare, jobs, free housing, and Social Security, and a credit card with $10,000 on it, and a free phone that Obama had. This is the kind of nonsense. This is the utter insanity of the Democrat Party.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How much of this is because when you talk about that, I think about, I was reading a story about how Angela Merkel decided to let a lot of illegals in because they would be voting for her. And it sounds like it started off as some kind of European scheme to obviously prop up somebody that was in power and want to keep her power by essentially siphoning votes from illegals. How much of this stuff is being influenced upon our country from overseas?
I don't think they need to go any further than where they are right now. It's the Democrat Party platform. It's the Democrat insanity. I think the Democrat Party is assailed more internationally than they are really here.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's other countries that just look at the Democrats and what they're doing and just laugh and shake their heads because France and England and Germany are seeing the problems with the influx of illegal aliens as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been pushing back for some time. Australia really has had problems with gun control and confiscating guns. Mm-hmm. And so did they get that from the Democrats or did the Democrats get it from them? They both believe in complete gun confiscation. It's just that the Democrats haven't had the courage yet, or the stupidity, if you will, to try to take guns away. They've done it a few times, like in Chicago, in the projects there, and they did it during Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, where they went door to door and boat to boat, confiscating guns. and they were never returned. So, so who's really leading the way in all of that? Because gun control in America is against the law, yet we still have over 20,000 gun control laws. And the Gun Control Act of 1968, I mean, look at how long ago that was, almost 60 years ago. And it was we got to do some sort of feel-good legislation because of JFK and RFK and Martin Luther King, and wow. And oh, by the way, that's something else in the book. Martin Luther King supposedly was shot and killed by James Earl Ray.
Yeah.
James Earl Ray confessed. And then a few days later, he said, sorry, I lied. And he recanted. I didn't do it. And I want a trial. It's so important that you know the truth and you prove me wrong. Go ahead, prove me wrong. I want a trial. Vem, did he ever get a trial? Hell no. Oh, they said, like, what is the stupidity behind any ruling of a judge saying, no, he can't have it. He already confessed. King's X, we already touched home plate, and he doesn't get to recant. He's going. Why? The truth is the important thing here. Justice is the important thing here. And even the Martin Luther King family, his wife and his children, went to a hearing before a judge and said, please put this man on trial. We do not believe he killed our father. Dexter King went into prison and interviewed James Earl Ray and asked him point blank if he killed his father. And he's already dying of cancer, so what the heck does he care if he tells him, yes, I did. I'm sorry. No, he said, no, I didn't. Vem, I think you know this answer too. Who did they think actually had a hand in their father's death?
J. Edgar Hoover?
That's right. Our own government.
Yeah.
And what illegal activity was the FBI doing against MLK?
Well, a lot of things, weren't they, like filming him, and they had like...
Yeah, they were monitoring him. They were filming him. They were recording his phone calls. And they even went to him once and said, if you don't confess and you don't tell us and you don't stop this, blah, 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 we're going to turn these states over to your wife.
Yeah.
That's the crimes the FBI was committing against Martin Luther King.
I got to ask you, where do you think, because it definitely feels like we're on the wrong track as a country, right? Where do you think we really went off the rails?
Yeah, that's a real good one too, and we actually bring some of that up. So the question I really want to take from your question, which leads me into this bigger question, is, after 150 years of the Democrat Party hating blacks and lynching blacks and beating blacks and flogging blacks and doing all these horrible things to them and arresting Rosa Parks for not giving her seat to a white man, arresting Martin Luther King over 30 times, and Martin Luther King did some of his best work and best writing from inside a jail.
No.
Yeah. And so in our presentation, we do a big thing on Rosa Parks. And I want to ask every cop in the country and every sheriff, if you were called back into time to December 1st, 1955 in Montgomery, Alabama, would you have arrested Rosa Parks? And I've heard some crazy answers from cops about that. I mean, crazy, because they can't make a differentiation between 1955 and 2020, 2026 from the present. They can't do it because there's too much of a hypocrisy and a dichotomy there. They want to be both sides and they can't. And it's really, sometimes it's even funny. Wow. But the thing of it is, after you look at 150 years of the Democrat Party destroying black Americans any way they could, keeping them down any way they could, and then what happened? The Great Depression is when it all started under FDR's New Deal. And it was just giving welfare. And so the black organizations and black Americans started liking FDR. And even though FDR was one of the worst racist presidents we've ever had. Now, I know you remember Jesse Owens, right?
The Olympian.
Yeah, the 1936 Olympics were held in Russia.
Yeah.
I mean, Germany. Sorry.
Berlin, yeah.
Yeah, in I always get Russia and Germany mixed up. Really, I do. No, no.
Yeah.
So they had them in Moscow. Okay, it was in Germany, folks. I mean, Berlin. Was it Berlin? Yeah, it was Berlin.
Berlin, yeah.
See, I still get them mixed up.
Yeah.
So, and of course, Hitler's big thing. He's there, and his number two man, Goebbels, was in charge of the Olympics and getting those done. And so it was all part of their white supremacy deal. Now you have Jesse Owens beat the Germans, beat everybody, the most decorated gold medalist in Olympic history. He comes home and he's snubbed by FDR and not invited to the White House when all the other Olympians were. The blacks, the two or three blacks were not allowed to go to the White House because FDR said so. And so then the next big one, the next small one, I should say, was JFK. JFK did reach out to blacks, but JFK wasn't president very long, as we all know. And JFK was actually a pretty good president.
Yeah.
He would be a staunch conservative if his policies were being followed today.
Yeah.
But then the next big one was stupid Lyndon Baines Johnson came up with this war on poverty.
Yeah.
And spent trillions on poverty that never got rid of any poverty.
Yeah.
We have more poverty now than before. These ridiculous entitlement programs and welfare programs do not work.
Yeah.
And yet they're just going to keep doing them, aren't they? They're just going to keep doing them.
It's like, it's funny because I was watching a debate for the California governors, the California governor candidates were doing a debate today, and the Democrats were really pushing this idea of like funding stopping homelessness. But if you actually look at what's happened is that they've spent billions of dollars, and for some reason homelessness has gotten worse. And you could say the same thing about the Great Society, that by funding the Great Society of Lyndon Baines Johnson, it made poverty worse. It took the black man out of the family, and so now you got a lot of single mother households, which then leads to gang violence. But it just, they haven't learned.
No. And so the epilogue of the book is the solution. And folks, it involves a progressive Democrat assemblywoman in California. So you got to say, what? You want us to be like this progressive Democrat lady in the California Assembly? Yes. Because she's a principled person, and this is what we hope happens.
Wait, what's her name?
Good people in the Democrat Party. I don't care what party you are. I don't care.
Yeah.
But you must abandon the insanity of your party. You can't keep voting for these people. You can't keep voting for the Nancy Pelosi's and the Maxine Waters and the Hakeem Jeffries and Schumers and the governor of Minnesota, Walz, and Kamala, and the Newsoms. Newsom's all but destroyed California, and now what? He's like number one for the Democrats in 2028. Folks, you've got to wake up. There's good people in the Democrat Party, and you've got to wake up. And the rhinos in the Republican Party have got to wake up. We've got to support candidates who support the cause of liberty, who support the principles of civil rights and protecting people's rights, and that we understand that communism and socialism are not American alternatives. They're not. They're the antithesis of our American Constitution. And so what this lady did, I want you to read the epilogue, and you can start there. You want to read the end of the book first? Go ahead and cheat and read the epilogue first, and you'll see what this lady did. And she assailed and slammed her own party because of what they were doing to protect the criminals and forget about law and order and keep repeating children sexual exploitation. Now, that's the closest I'm going to give you for the hint on this. But folks, go to cspoa.org and make a donation of $15. Okay? With that, I will send you a digital copy of the book.
Well,
okay? go to CSPOA.org. That's my website, Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association. And I'll send you that book. The digital book is only $15, and you're not allowed to copy it. Okay, just tell anybody else they can go there and get their own. You're making a donation of $15. Make sure, because if it's $15, I'll know that it's for the book. Make sure you leave your email. How am I going to email you your book? Make sure you leave your email on that donation request that happens. Wow. PayPal's the one we use, but we use Stripe and Square and anything else. Our address is on there if you want to send a silver coin or cash, check, whatever. We don't care what you send. But folks, let's get that book out there. Mm-hmm. This was one of the most revolutionary books in our nation's history. And this is going to get a lot of people mad. But we're going to tell the truth, and that's what we've done. We've put our lives on the line because we want to tell the truth, and we want to provide a solution. And we hope that this solution is peaceful and effective. But their own party showed us the way.
Wow.
And so that's what we're hoping for, that all of you will take from that. CSPOA.org, donate $15, put your email address on there. You'll have the book tomorrow.
I got to ask this, just one last question now. It sounds like the example of how to fix this craziness is a Democrat assemblywoman.
It is.
What's her name?
Eggman. Her last name is Eggman. She's Hispanic, and I don't remember the rest of her name, but I do remember it was Senator Eggman from the California legislature, and she actually teamed up with a Republican.
Wow!
And they got the job done.
It sounds like her policies are like where the Democrat Party should be going.
Exactly. Wow. Exactly. That's why we put her at the end of the book. She's the solution. She set a great example. And first, she really got mad at her own party, and all that's in there. It's all quoted from what she said on the legislative floor in Sacramento.
Wow. Well, I'm definitely getting a copy of that book. Everybody should go on to CSPOA.org, grab a copy of that book. Sheriff Mack, is there anything we didn't touch upon that's worth mentioning before we wrap it up?
Yes, we'll have to come back later and do it. But obviously, there's a lot more to the book and how it came about and the miracle that it is. And we've got some good sheriffs we need to talk about, and the state of Washington trying to destroy sheriffs. We're really busy. We really need the donations. And folks, the best way to get that is buy the book. $15, CSPOA.org. Make a donation of $15. Put your email address. You'll have the book tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
If I see something tonight, I'll mail it out tonight.
Awesome. Sheriff Mack, thank you so much for coming on to the Blood Money Podcast. It's always a pleasure to have you on. For the viewers, make sure you check out AmericaHappens.com where we have our episodes posted. Also Spotify for an audio version of this podcast. Make sure you share it with people. Make sure you let people know about this amazing book, amazing cover. The topics you talk about, sir, are just, are a big bullseye for me, I'll tell you. Big bullseye. You bring it all together.
The name of the book, does everybody remember the name of the book? The Democrat Murder of America. Not democratic. They'll think that that's the process of being democratic. No, it's the Democrat Murder of America.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir. And for the viewers, I will see you all on the next episode of Blood Money. Take care.
Thanks, man.
Over the last 30 years, we have seen the value of our work diminish and the price of real assets like land and homes increase to the point that for most people under the age of 40, the hope of owning their own home has been lost. The response of governments around the world to the 2008 global financial crisis and COVID was to defer the cost of these events to the future. They did this by printing money, in effect selling our futures to pay for their bad decisions. This is corporatism, not capitalism. Money printing didn't hurt those in power, nor those who supported them, because they had real assets, property, shares in businesses that rose in price to match the inflation of money supply. But for most of us around the world, it sold our future for a fraction of its value. In response to this, a mysterious figure known as Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin. He wanted to create a currency that could not be printed on command, thereby devaluing our labor. A currency that could be traded electronically between people without intermediation, allowing all of us to participate fairly in the economy. But if you tried to buy your groceries with Bitcoin, you'd stand at the checkout for at least 10 minutes, probably hours, waiting for the transaction to process, and the fee would cost you more than the carton of eggs and bag of apples. Bitcoin's limitations meant that it stopped being considered a currency in 2016 and was instead called a store of value. But it opened the door for someone to create a genuine currency that nobody controlled, but everyone could use. That someone is us. We created the Gajumaru blockchain and the Gaju currency. The Gaju is real money you can use, whether that is to buy a loaf of bread, pay for a haircut, buy a t-shirt, in fact buy or sell anything. It is a currency for everyday use. On Gaju Market, anyone can buy and sell any legal goods or services, just like you would on eBay, but at a fraction of the cost. Like Bitcoin, Gajus are mined on a computer. Unlike Bitcoin, mining Gajus does not require specialized equipment, nor huge power supplies. During our protected rollout, you can mine this on everyday computers, like the ones that sit in your home doing nothing for most of the day. We are working to get millions of people like you to mine the Gajumaru and be rewarded with Gajus that you can then use as real money. At the end of 2026, the Gajumaru will open to public mining. By then, we will have brought together millions of people like you to mine the Gajumaru. This will create such powerful combined computing capacity across so many millions of people that the Gajumaru can remain highly decentralized, enabling an economy for the people, by the people. To make all of this possible, we offer a variety of mining packages that combine all of the software and services you need on our website, gajumining.com. The software is simple to install, and there is a step-by-step guide that will get you mining and participating quickly and easily. You can buy those packages now. You can start mining the Gajumaru and being rewarded in Gajus now. Select a suitable mining package from the gajumining.com web store. Install and activate the software on your device and start mining today. This is an opportunity to be part of a movement to restore our humanity, our dignity, our sovereignty, creating a better future for everyone. For the first time in thousands of years, you will directly benefit from your work, your ideas, without being taxed by intermediaries or needing permission to be part of the global economy. We believe that capitalism is I win, you win, we all win, not I win, you lose. That's corporatism. We refuse to pursue venture funding that would demand we play the corporatist game, and chose instead to grow this movement by giving everyone the opportunity to benefit from their contribution to the movement. Just like being able to mine Bitcoin in 2008 or 2009, getting early access to mining the Gajumaru now allows you to mine the greatest number of Gajus and benefit most from being part of this movement. We want to share that with you. We want the whole world to be part of this. We want everyone who cares about our future to get on board and take this from a movement to a reality. We want to see an economy for the people, by the people, now. Join us. Put your fingerprints on humanity's story, our history. Be a leader in the economic emancipation of humanity. It's simple. Go to gajumining.com, select the mining package that's right for you, and get started today.